Hey, what's up guys? So I know a lot of you have been asking about the add-on laser jammers for Uniden's windshield mount radar detectors. Well, I'm actually here in the shop this week getting the R9W installed here in our EV9, and as we were talking, I saw that they actually had one of Uniden's add-on jammers here that you can pair with like the R4W and R8W, for example. And so now that I've got one here, let's go ahead and unbox it. We'll take a look at it. We'll go over how everything connects, the different features that are available, compatibility with different copies of Uniden's radar detectors, availability, pricing, all that kind of stuff. And so with that said, let's go ahead and hop on the bench back there and take a look at what these jammers are like. Now, taking a closer look at these jammers, they're actually called the R9W Front Laser Starter Pack, and it's designed in case maybe you want to build the system a la carte. So maybe you add like radar only setup, or maybe front and rear to get the arrows, and then you also want to add maybe just the front laser jammers, for example. You can do this. This is also incidentally the same laser jammers you're going to be using with like a windshield mount radar detector, like the R4W or R8W. Anyways, let's go ahead and open it up. And inside here, there's this little pamphlet that goes over, the different accessories that you can add on here to the R9W like we talked about. And they've also got some information about installation and the different settings and menu options here. And then unboxing everything, let's see what comes inside the package here. Now, as part of the starter kit, it's going to come with a triple set of jammers, 1, 2, 3 here, typically for the front of the vehicle. It's also going to have this laser distribution box, which is what all the individual heads are going to be plugging into. This is a waterproof box that's going to be going in your engine bay somewhere. It supports up to 6 heads total, you can see, but it comes with 3 here. And then you're also going to be having a separate cable here that's going to run from the laser distribution box to the radar detector inside the car itself. So this cable is going to be running through your firewall. Then it's going to be plugging into the side of the radar detector right there, which I'll show you here in just a second. Additionally, mounting wise, you've got some mounting hardware as well, like some brackets to install the different laser jammer heads in your grill, and zip ties, etc. Additionally, I was surprised to see that it also comes with a keypad here that's used with the R9W. So if you want a remote keypad for your windshield mount radar detector, let's take a look at how that works here as well. Now, once everything is set up, the laser jammers are ultimately going to plug into the side of the radar detector here, like we talked about. And then that optional keypad is going to be plugging into the power cable of the radar detector. And to adjust the different settings, you can of course do it here right from the detector itself. But the keypad is just going to give you another optional way to go in and adjust all the same settings here without having to reach up and press the top of the detector. Could be nice if you have it installed somewhere where maybe you can't reach the buttons or it's a little bit farther away or something. So the keypad is just kind of a secondary additional way to do it. Anyways, if we kind of keep going through here and go into the different laser jammer options, let's got laser turned on here. That's our laser detection. That's separate from the laser jamming stuff. We also have laser gun ID. I actually really like this feature. Let's turn that on real quick. That's going to tell you what laser gun you're getting hit with. And we're going to demo this here using a Dragon-Eye Compact. And so when you get shot, it'll actually identify the gun. You can see it actually displays Dragon-Eye Compact right there on screen, which is actually, again, the same thing that you get if you're running it without the laser jammers. Now, if you've got the laser jammers plugged in, you're going to see a new option pop up here for the laser transponders, the laser jammers. And you can turn this on and off as you like. Now, with it turned on, you do have a couple different jamming options. You've got continuous jamming here like this to just jam indefinitely, which I wouldn't recommend using other than for testing, especially because there's not currently a JTK option for manual disarming. There's also a pulse mode here, which is a 10-second auto JTK, so they're going to automatically disarm after 10 seconds, which I think is actually way too long. There's no option like with the R9W, for example, to set the timer there. That's something that they're going to need to add with a future firmware update. And then the last option here is going to be for laser jammer detection only, not jamming at all. So these are also going to be functioning as your laser receivers. So testing mode here, actual usability day to day, but again, I think we really do need a firmware update to be able to change this timer option. Then to configure which heads are doing what, you've got some options here. So again, you can do up to 6 heads, and you can assign these to say, are they in the front against the Dragon-Eye, are they going to receive or transmit? And you can go in and change kind of like the behavior for all these ones if they receive or transmit, or if they're installed in the front or rear. And again, you can do 3 transponders for front only, and then you can also disable, 4, 5, and 6 if you're not doing more heads than that for like rear protection. And as I mentioned before, if you don't have the laser jammers plugged in, after the laser gun ID feature, none of the laser transponder settings are going to show up for you. Now, it's worth noting that if you have a regular R4 or regular R8, the non-W versions, these ones don't actually support the laser jammer functionality with the current firmware, unfortunately. So if we scroll through, you can see after the laser gun ID, there's still no option here for any of the laser transponder stuff. That actually used to be the case on some of the older firmwares, but Uniden has since removed it, and we're waiting for them to reactivate the laser jammer functionality as promised for the R4 and R8. Additionally, it's also worth noting that if you want to use this remote keypad, you are going to have to use the cigarette lighter cable here like this, because the keypad actually plugs into the cigarette lighter power outlet. And so if you want to hardwire the radar detector, you're still going to be able to use the laser jammers because those plug into the radar detector itself. However, there's not going to be a good way to actually use this keypad. Now, Uniden does sell a dedicated hardwire cable kit here like this, but if you take a closer look at the cable, it's only going to be able to supply power here for the radar detector. You got your power and ground wires, and then this is going to plug into the side for the radar detector, but there is no port here on this smart cable to plug in a laser jammer anywhere. And so for that reason, or sorry, not a laser jammer, the keypad. And so if you want to use the keypad, you are going to have to use this cigarette lighter power cable. And so there's not really a good option to hardwire the R8 series or R4 series and still use this keypad, unless you want to like literally bury this cigarette lighter power cable in your dash somewhere and then like hardwire the cable and then run this out of sight, which I guess for installers is what they're going to have to do if they want to install this here with the keypad. Or you can just maybe like forego the keypad and use the hardwire cable kit here like this, and then plug the laser jammers into the side of the detector itself. Now, in terms of firmware updates, I've got the R8W hooked up again, and if we go into Uniden's Tach app, we'll go into the option here for the firmware updates, and you can see I've got the detector updated here, latest firmware 1.28. It can also see things like the keypad and the laser jammers, for example. However, there's not an option to go out and check for updated firmware for those options. I'm hoping that in time when they release updates for the laser jammers, we're going to be able to update here using the app or using Wi-Fi. You can actually now update the detector over Bluetooth, like the R8W. You don't have to use Wi-Fi, but that's an option as well. And so I don't see any updates available yet, but I'm hoping that in time we're going to be able to update over the app with Bluetooth or via Wi-Fi. And then lastly, what about pricing and availability here for this laser jammer system? Well, it is available now. It actually started shipping in March. It retails for $13.75 for a triple head setup here with just the laser jammers and then the control pad as well to plug into your windshield mount radar detector. If you wanted some additional laser jammer heads, maybe you want rear protection, for example, it can support up to 6 heads total, and each additional head is going to be $375. Now, as far as availability, these are only going to be available from dealers, like distributors here. You're not going to be able to order online like you can with their radar detectors, the windshield mounts. You do have to go to a local installer. Same idea here as like the R9W, for example. And so that is going to be kind of limiting your options if you want to go and pick one of these up. I know Escort you can buy online, ALP, TMG, TPX, etc. But Uniden, they're saying you can only get it through dealers. Now, if you want to find a dealer, Uniden does have a dealer locator on their website, but a lot of the dealers that they're saying have these systems don't actually have them yet because they're still kind of rolling them out and whatnot. And so finding somebody that has one of these is actually going to be pretty tough. I'm, again, here at Systems Unlimited here in Bellevue, and they actually have them here. I know a lot of people have been calling in and saying like, hey, you know, can you ship them to me? But they're like, sorry, Uniden's policy right now is that you do have to actually come into an installer, which is kind of weird because I figure like with a setup like this, okay, maybe you want to paying for the parts and the labor to get it professionally installed, let's get it hardwired, you know? And if you want to use this control pad that it comes with, well, the cigarette lighter power cable is the only way to actually get it plugged in. If you want to use their hardwire cable, there is no option to use this included keypad that you're paying for, which is a really bizarre thing to happen that we didn't notice until I was actually kind of chatting with it here with my installer, kind of showing him how everything works. And we're like, well, how do you hardwire it? You can't. The only way to do that is to use the cigarette lighter power cable and like tuck that away and hardwire that or something and be okay with losing the remote mute button here on the detector or something. But otherwise, yeah, it's kind of weird. So availability is really wonky right now. Functionality is also a little bit wonky. The firmware updates are not yet working. Some of the features here in the radar detector are not yet available. So like being able to manually change the JTK timers and a lot of the options that we have on the R9W are not yet available here on the R8W and R4W. The regular R4 and R8 still have not been updated to support these laser jammers, and so we're still waiting on that functionality in the first place. They actually removed the functionality, then they're like, oh yeah, we should probably go ahead and release it because we promised it, not just try to convert everybody to the W models. And so this whole situation is weird. I know a lot of you guys have been asking like, what's the availability? What's the story on this? When can you buy them? Where do you get them? And it's just a weird situation. This is the first time I've actually seen one here on hand, so I figured I'd play around with it, sit down and shoot a video and see what it's like. Glad to see that they're starting to roll out, but this is a weird launch to say the least. So if you want one, I guess hop on Uniden's website. I'll put a link in the description and find a local dealer in your area. I'm really hopeful that they, you know, release like updated firmware here for these detectors to add all the features that we need, like, you know, being able to manually JTK, kind of important. Have an auto JTK timer that's not 10 seconds, which is way too long. also kind of important. You know, like being able to JTK with any of the buttons here, like we've been able to do with the R9W. So there's a lot of features that they have on the custom install that they need to bring over here. They need to support the non-W models, and then we also need, I think, an updated hardwire cable so we can hardwire this and still actually use this keypad as well. So that was kind of an oversight that I didn't notice until we started playing with it. So anyways, yeah, they're technically available. Get one if you want. But yeah, this is weird. So anyways, that's it for now. Let me know your thoughts kind of in the comments as far as what you think about the system, the design, the UI, the interface, the plugs. I know it'd be nice to not have this extra cable plugged into the side of the radar detector and have it maybe tucked away a little bit better. But anyways, that's a look at what all it looks like here with Uniden's add-on laser jammers. Thanks for watching. Hope you're all doing great, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.